Did you know that 55% of Americans report being stressed during the day? That stress or chronic stress can actually cause increased inflammation. And if you've been paying attention, then you'll understand that increased inflammation is associated with microbiome imbalances, which leads to leaky gut, which can lead to chronic health conditions, autoimmune diseases, and even mental health illnesses, just like depression. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what that stress response is. We're going to talk about specifically the HPA axis or hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, how that leads to inflammation, and the top 5 things that you can do today to reduce your stress and therefore reduce your chronic inflammation. So what is the stress response? Well, the stress response is activated by the HPA or hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. The amygdala senses a potential danger and receives this message of distress and sends it to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus then signals to the pituitary, which then signals to the adrenals to release stress hormones such as glucocorticoids and particularly cortisol. This then activates our autonomic nervous system, that sympathetic fight or flight, to get away from the stressor or to react to the stressor, and then the parasympathetic nervous system response, which when the stressor goes away, turns everything down and allows us to rest and digest. Our stress response is required for survival, and it's also a normal response to emotional and physical stressors. And it can actually be positive. You see, our stress response can help us to adapt to new situations, to analyze our environment, to better understand whether something or some place is dangerous or not. It can also help increase our productivity in the short term. It can help us to win a race and even help us ace that exam. However, stress becomes a problem when we are under chronic stress and it's happening every single day without any relief. You see, 63% of US workers say that they are ready to quit their job just to avoid work-related stress. This work-related stress is a type of chronic stress. Chronic stress is also very commonplace at work, with 94% of US workers reporting feeling stressed at work. So many of you are probably experiencing chronic stress on a daily basis. So symptoms of chronic stress we discussed in that video that I did on burnout and how our body gives us warning signs of burnout. And burnout is where chronic stress gets to a point where our bodies can no longer move forward and we actually become very exhausted. And so some of the common symptoms of chronic stress are irritability, anxiety, depression, headaches, and even insomnia. And this chronic stress can lead to depression, anxiety, gut dysbiosis, that leaky gut, the inflammatory response, autoimmune diseases, heart disease, high blood pressure, and even increase your risk for cancer. So what can we do to reduce stress? Well, there are many things that you can do to elicit a relaxation response to help you to reduce stress. In this video, I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips to help you reduce your stress. Starting with number 1, which is meditation. Meditation can actually impact and improve the gray and white matter density in our brains, which has actually been shown to be decreased in depression. Meditation also has powerful anti-inflammatory benefits and can help regulate your stress response. It helps us to adapt to stressful situations and helps to turn on that parasympathetic nervous system. And some of the types of meditation that have been shown to do this are mindfulness meditation, where you focus on breathing or physical sensations in your body as you're meditating, and even breathing meditations or deep breathing exercises while you're meditating can also be very powerful and activate that parasympathetic nervous system. In our video that we did on how to breathe away anxiety, we talked specifically about abdominal breathing and belly breathing and the Ujjayi breath, which is a yogic style breathing that can help you to reduce your stress and elicit that relaxation response. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and check it out. Spiritual meditation is another type of meditation that is very useful in reducing stress. So this can be in the form of prayer or just sitting and meditating and focusing on your spirituality and beliefs, whatever they may be. Guided imagery is another type of meditation where you visualize an environment that helps you to reduce stress, like a calm ocean or beach or island or forest or waterfall or anything that just brings about a sensation of calm and relaxation. This can be done through guided imagery and is a type of meditation that can help to reduce your stress. And then you have walking meditations and movement style meditations such as yoga, and you can even meditate while you're doing light exercises. So meditation doesn't always have to be sitting still and not doing anything. You can meditate while walking and doing exercise, which brings us to the second tip, which is exercise. And in our video on how exercise treats depression, we talk about how exercise can actually help to regulate that HPA axis system. But it's important to note that if you are under chronic stress or even on that verge of burnout, that you want to start out with light exercise. Do something relaxing like taking a walk, light stretching, even yoga, Pilates, something that isn't going to be as strenuous. And then as your body starts to get comfortable with exercise, then you can start slowly increasing the moderation and intensity and increase to moderate and then higher intensity exercise. Another type of exercise that you can do is vagal massage or vagal exercises. So one of the things that I like to do in the morning to basically turn on the parasympathetic nervous system and start my day in a restful state is to do some vagal massage exercises. The ones that I like to do are, I rub the tops of my eyes here very gently, about 10 times, and then I move down my face, and here, this here really gets me. I do this about 10 times. And then back behind the ear and the neck, there's a place back here where I rub. And I do that about 10 times. And that just really helps to set the tone for me and to turn on that parasympathetic response. And it also helps to increase what's called your vagal tone. I'll put the video link down in the description to the exercises that I follow for stimulating my vagus nerve. So if you're interested, you can go and check it out. Now, my third tip is diet. And of course, this is another recurring theme here in these videos. When you're eating junk food or ultra-processed foods, you are actually creating an inflammatory response in your body. Remember, we talked about how that in itself can disrupt the gut microbiome and lead to this whole inflammatory process. It also depletes your body of the micronutrients that it needs, which also increases the stress on your body. So an anti-inflammatory diet is crucial to all health, physical and mental health. So a whole foods diet like the Mediterranean diet and the Mind diet that we discussed in the video on neuroplasticity will definitely be very beneficial in helping to reduce your stress and inflammation. You also want to make sure that you're limiting caffeine, because the chronic stress response downregulates cortisol and also dysregulates it, where you're going to be experiencing insomnia at night because your cortisol levels are high at night and then they're low in the morning, which means you're waking up feeling tired and fatigued, which makes you more prone to wanting to go for that coffee. But you want to limit caffeine because caffeine can be very stimulating and can actually do the opposite and continue the cycle of increasing the stress response. And so therefore, sure limiting caffeine, if you're going to drink it, to just 1 cup a day would be very beneficial in reducing your stress response. Then that brings us to the 4th tip, which is getting good sleep. Sleep is foundational to all health, not just mental health, but very important to re-regulate your HPA axis and your stress response. And so making sure that you set yourself up with a good sleep hygiene routine. I did make a video on my sleep hygiene practices here, where I use blue light blocking glasses at night to help set my circadian rhythm, and a bunch of other tips that I do for my sleep hygiene routine. And so if you missed that video, make sure to check it out for more tips on how you can improve your sleep hygiene. And my last tip, my 5th and final tip on how to reduce stress, is going to be eliminating your stressors. So reducing access to social media is one way to eliminate stress. You know, social media has actually become more stressful and can activate that sympathetic nervous system. Just by being on your computer and being on your phones, with getting too much blue light, can actually dysregulate your circadian rhythm, but actually being on social media and having the pressure of getting likes, and you can also be at risk for getting bullied on social media and things like that, where social media is more stressful than it is fun. And so reducing your time on social media would be a good idea. Another thing that's very important is making sure you're setting boundaries. A lot of times our stress comes from the fact that we can't say no. It's easy to say yes, you want to please everybody, everyone needs your help, maybe you're doing too much overtime, or you're just overextending yourself. So you really have to take a look at whether or not you're being overworked in that way. And if you are, learn to start setting boundaries and saying no to people. You have to really start to put your health and mental health first. And then the other thing you want to eliminate when it comes to stressors is unhealthy relationships. Now, this may be difficult, but if you think about it, there are probably some unhealthy relationships that you have in your life where there's people that are just very negative, bringing you down, maybe saying negative things, constantly gossiping and things like that. You don't want to surround yourself with those types of people. So if you can, limit your time around those negative people as much as you can. Instead, surround yourself with positive people, people that are going to uplift you and support you in your mental health care journey. And if you need help with any of these tips, feel free to contact me. My information is down in the description. I'd love to help you along on your mental health care journey. So, that wraps up my video on how you can improve your stress response to improve your mental health. Do you have any other tips on how you reduce your stress? Go ahead and drop that down in the comment section below, because we learn from sharing each other's experiences. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with others who may find it just as valuable as you did. And as always, I thank you for watching. I wish you well on your mental health care journey, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week.